High up in Scotland, there were big mountains. These mountains were ancient, standing tall for thousands of years, witnessing the changing seasons and the passage of time. They were called the Rockstone Mountains. The mountains were tall and gray. They touched the clouds. Their peaks were often shrouded in mist, giving them a mysterious and magical appearance. In a cozy cave nestled high in the mountains lived a little blue dragon named Dylan. His cave was hidden behind a waterfall, making it a secret and special place. Dylan had bright blue scales that shimmered in the sun. When the sunlight hit his scales, they sparkled like sapphires, making him look like a jewel of the mountains. He had big, curious eyes and a long, swishy tail. His eyes were always full of wonder, always looking for something new to discover. Dylan loved his home. It was warm and safe. The cave was filled with soft moss and glowing crystals that lit up the space with a gentle, comforting light. The Rockstone Mountains were his playground. He knew every nook and cranny. From the hidden valleys to the secret caves, Dylan had explored them all. Every day was an adventure for Dylan. He couldn't wait to explore. He would soar through the skies, dive into crystal-clear lakes, and climb the highest peaks. Each day brought new discoveries and excitement. Dylan's favorite thing was to fly over the mountains at sunset. The sky would turn shades of pink and orange, and the mountains would glow in the fading light. It was a sight that always took his breath away. At the end of each day, Dylan would return to his cozy cave, tired but happy. He would curl up on his bed of moss, dreaming of the adventures that awaited him the next day. As the stars twinkled above the Rockstone Mountains, Dylan knew he was home, a place full of wonder, magic, and endless adventures. Every morning, the sun peeked over the mountains, casting a golden glow over the landscape. The first rays of sunlight would slowly creep over the peaks, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange. It tickled Dylan's nose and woke him up gently, like a soft whisper urging him to start the day. The warmth of the sun's rays felt comforting on his scales. Dylan yawned, a puff of smoke coming from his nostrils. His yawn echoed through the cave, a sign of a restful night and the beginning of a new day. He stretched his wings wide, feeling the muscles loosen and the joints pop. He wiggled his long tail, shaking off the last remnants of sleep. Dylan was excited for a new day. His eyes sparkled with anticipation, and his heart raced with the thrill of what lay ahead. He poked his head out of his cave, the world outside looking fresh and inviting. The morning light bathed everything in a soft, welcoming glow. The air was fresh and cool, filled with the scent of pine and the promise of new adventures. The gentle breeze carried the sounds of the forest waking up. Dylan took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the crisp morning air. It invigorated him, making him feel alive and ready for anything. It smelled like pine needles and damp earth, a scent that always made him feel at home. The forest floor was covered in a soft carpet of pine needles, damp from the morning dew. Dylan was ready for an adventure. With a final stretch and a determined look, he set off into the mountains, eager to see what the day would bring. Dylan loved to fly. He leaped from his cave and spread his wings. He soared through the air higher and higher. The wind whistled past his ears. Dylan felt free. He chased fluffy white clouds. They looked like cotton candy. Dylan dipped and dived, laughing with glee. He flew over sparkling rivers and waterfalls. The water sparkled like 1,000 diamonds. Section 4. The Wonders of Rockstone Mountains. Dylan landed by a rushing river. He took a long drink of the cold, clear water. It tasted fresh and sweet. Dylan loved exploring the Rockstone Mountains. He knew all the best spots. He found secret caves hidden behind waterfalls. He discovered sparkling crystals in the rocks. Dylan even made friends with the mountain goats. They weren't scared of him at all. Section 5. A Heart Full of Joy. As the sun began to set, Dylan flew back to his cave. He was tired but happy. He had so much fun exploring. Dylan curled up in his cozy cave. He was warm and safe. Dylan closed his eyes, his heart full of joy. He loved his home in the Rockstone Mountains. He couldn't wait for another day of adventures. Section 6. Dylan's Love for Home. Every day, Dylan woke up to a new adventure. The first rays of the sun would gently kiss the peaks of the Rockstone Mountains, casting a golden hue over the landscape. Dylan would stretch and breathe in the crisp morning air, feeling invigorated and ready to explore. He explored every corner of the Rockstone Mountains. From the highest peaks to the deepest valleys, Dylan knew every trail and hidden path. Each day brought new discoveries, whether it was a hidden waterfall or a secluded glade. He loved the fresh air, the rushing rivers, and the symphony of nature that surrounded him. The sound of the water flowing over rocks was like music to his ears, and the scent of pine trees filled him with a sense of peace, and the feeling of freedom when he flew. Watching the birds soar above the mountains, Dylan felt a deep connection to the wild and untamed beauty of his surroundings. But most of all, Dylan loved his home. Nestled in a cozy cabin surrounded by the majesty of the mountains, his home was a sanctuary. It was a place where he could rest and recharge, a place filled with memories and dreams. It was his special place, a haven of tranquility and solitude. Here, he could reflect on his adventures and plan new ones, always feeling a deep sense of belonging, a place of wonder and joy. The forest glade near his home was a magical spot where he often spent time, marveling at the beauty of nature and feeling a profound sense of happiness. And every night, Dylan fell asleep, dreaming of new adventures in his beloved Rockstone Mountains. Under the starry sky, wrapped in his sleeping bag, he felt a deep connection to the universe and the endless possibilities that awaited him.